A desperate scream is cut short by the crack of a railgun, silencing the doomed Andorian soldier forever. Admiral Joshua Adams watches the carnage unfold on the view screen, his face an impassive mask. Beside him, the Andorian negotiator Corvus recoils in horror as the human commandos tear through his forces like tissue paper. Just minutes ago, Corvus had been smugly threatening the human delegation, secure in the knowledge of his species' military superiority. But that was before Joshua revealed his trump card, a strike team already en route to seize the illegal Andorian outpost on Epsilon Theta III. "You can't do this," Corvus sputters, his earlier bravado evaporating as the human soldiers methodically eliminate his garrison. "This is an act of war." Joshua fixes the Andorian with a cold stare. "No, Corvus, this is the consequence of your deception. Did you really think we wouldn't find out about your little base? You've been using it to stage raids on our shipping lanes for months." The Admiral turns back to the view screen, where helmet cam footage shows his troops breaching the outpost command center. The Andorians put up a fierce fight, but they are simply outmatched by the humans' superior tactics and technology. Within minutes, the battle is over. Joshua addresses Corvus once more, his tone measured but firm. "Here are our terms. You will withdraw all Andorian forces from the contested sectors immediately. You will pay reparations for the lives and property you have destroyed, and you will never again interfere with human interests in this region of space. If you fail to comply, we will not hesitate to take further action." Corvus has no choice but to agree, his earlier defiance replaced by a grim acceptance of the new reality. The Andorian incident, as it will come to be known, sends shockwaves through the Galactic Council. For years, the other spacefaring races had viewed humanity as a minor player, a primitive species that had only recently ventured beyond their own solar system. But now, faced with undeniable proof of Earth's military prowess, the galactic powers are forced to reassess their assumptions. Some see the humans as dangerous upstarts that must be contained, while others argue that an alliance with Earth could tip the balance of power in their favor. As the debate rages across 100 worlds, one thing becomes clear. The old rules no longer apply. The stage is set for a high-stakes struggle for dominance, with humanity determined to assert its place among the stars, one battle at a time. In the grand chambers of the Galactic Council, the debate rages on. Representatives from 100 worlds shout and gesture, their voices rising in a cacophony of anger and fear. At the center of the storm stands Kraylock, the Tellarites' representative, his face twisted in a snarl as he pounds his fist on the podium. "The humans are a menace," he roars, spittle flying from his lips. "They have proven themselves to be violent, unpredictable, and utterly devoid of respect for the established order. If we do not act now, they will plunge the galaxy into chaos." Across the floor, Xiphus, the Arcturian diplomat, rises to his feet, his robes shimmering in the artificial light. The honorable representative from Teller speaks from fear, not reason, he says, his voice calm and measured. "The humans have indeed demonstrated their strength, but they have also shown a willingness to negotiate and cooperate. An alliance with Earth could bring stability and progress to the Council." As the debate continues, Joshua Adams sits in his quarters aboard the Earth flagship, the USS Endeavour. The weight of recent events hangs heavy on his shoulders. A chime at the door interrupts his thoughts. "Enter," he says, straightening his uniform. The door slides open, revealing the scarred visage of Major Wexler, the leader of the Epsilon Theta III strike team. "Admiral, we've just received word from Andoria. The Council has imposed a complete trade embargo on Earth. They're also mobilizing their fleets along our border." Joshua frowns, his mind racing with possibilities. "And what of our agents on the ground? Have they reported any unusual activity?" Wexler nods grimly. "Our sources indicate that both the Tellarites and the Arcturians are maneuvering behind the scenes. The Tellarites have dispatched assassins to target our leadership, while the Arcturians have reached out to propose an alliance." Joshua considers this news carefully. He knows that the next few moves will be critical in determining the future of humanity's place in the galaxy. Far from the halls of power, in the seedy underbelly of a frontier space station, the broker sips a fluorescent blue liquor and watches the news feeds with a calculating eye. The shadowy operative knows that chaos is the Shadow Hand's ally, and the brewing conflict between Earth and the Council presents a wealth of opportunities for profit and power. The broker activates a secure comm channel, the signal encrypted and routed through a dozen relays. "The pieces are in motion," the broker says, their voice distorted by the scrambler. "Prepare our assets. It's time to make our move." Back on Earth, General Draven stands before a crowd of cheering supporters, his voice booming through the amplifiers. "For too long, humanity has been shackled by the dictates of alien powers," he declares, his eyes blazing with fervor. "But no more. We have proven our strength, and now it is time to claim our rightful place as the masters of the stars." The crowd roars its approval, swept up in Draven's charismatic rhetoric. In the shadows, Sergeant Reyna watches the spectacle with a growing sense of unease. She knows that the truth behind the Andorian incident is far more complex than the official story suggests, and she is determined to uncover the real motives behind the conflict. As the galaxy teeters on the brink of war, the stage is set for a complex web of intrigue and betrayal. The future of humanity, and indeed the entire galactic order, hangs in the balance. The question remains, who will emerge victorious in this high-stakes game of shadows and secrets? Admiral Joshua Adams's boots echoed through the empty corridors of Starbase Zeta 9. The neutral space station, a hub of interstellar commerce, now stood eerily quiet in the wake of recent tensions. Joshua's eyes darted from shadow to shadow, alert for any sign of a trap. A door hissed open, revealing the tall, willowy form of Xiphus. The Arcturian diplomat's luminescent skin cast a soft glow in the dimly lit room. "Admiral Adams," Xiphus said, his voice a melodious whisper, "I appreciate your willingness to meet under such delicate circumstances." Joshua nodded curtly. "Let's skip the pleasantries, Xiphus. What's this about?" The Arcturian's four eyes blinked in rapid succession. "There are those within the Council who see humanity's potential. We believe an alliance could bring stability to the galaxy." Joshua's brow furrowed. "And why should I trust you?" Xiphus produced a data crystal. "This contains classified Council reports on Tellarite military deployments. Consider it a gesture of good faith." As Joshua weighed the implications of this covert offer, light years away on Earth, Sergeant Reyna crouched in the shadows of a dimly lit archive room. Her fingers flew across a holographic interface, sifting through classified documents. "Holloway, I've found something," she whispered into her comm. "Intercepted communications between General Draven and an unknown party. They were discussing the Andorian outpost weeks before the incident." Captain Holloway's voice crackled through the secure channel. "That matches the financial records I've uncovered. The Ascendancy has been funneling funds into Black Ops programs for months." A sudden noise outside the archive made Reyna freeze. "Someone's coming. I need to—" The door slid open, revealing two armed guards. "Halt! You're under arrest for treason against the Ascendancy." Reyna's hand inched towards her sidearm. "Holloway, we've been made. Initiating extraction plan Delta." In the grand chambers of the Galactic Council, Kralok's voice boomed across the assembly. "The evidence is clear. Earth poses an existential threat to galactic stability. We must act now to contain their aggression." Murmurs of assent rippled through the gathered representatives. Xiphus rose to speak, but his words were drowned out by the growing chorus of approval for Kralok's hardline stance. As the council vote was tallied, General Draven stood before a massive holographic display in Earth's military command center. The map showed a sea of red icons, representing Earth's rapidly expanding fleet. "The Council has made its decision," Draven announced, his eyes gleaming with awe-inspiring excitement. "They seek to chain us, to deny us our destiny among the stars. But we will not be shackled." The assembled officers cheered, caught up in Draven's fervor. In the back of the room, a nondescript aide, Zorg in disguise, tapped out a coded message on his datapad. The Tellarite assassin's work was progressing even faster than anticipated. Deep in the bowels of a derelict space station, the broker sat across from a hooded figure. The arms dealer Zarex's inhuman features were hidden in shadow, but the menace in his voice was unmistakable. "The humans are desperate for an edge," Zarex hissed. "My technology will give them that edge. For a price. The broker nodded. General Draven is prepared to meet your terms, but be warned, he is not a man to be trifled with. As deals were struck and battle lines drawn, Admiral Joshua Adams stared out at the stars from the bridge of the USS Endeavour. The weight of his meeting with Xiphus pressed heavily on his mind. A decision had to be made, one that would shape the future of humanity and the galaxy itself. The calm of space was shattered by a priority alert. Joshua's eyes widened as he read the message. Andorian fleet detected on approach vector. Galactic Council vessels mobilizing. Earth forces ordered to combat stations. The die was cast. As klaxons blared and crew members rushed to their posts, Joshua knew that the next few hours would determine the fate of everything he held dear. The alert blared through the USS Endeavour's corridors as Admiral Joshua Adams strode onto the bridge, his eyes hardened in unshakable focus. Status report, he barked. Multiple Council vessels on approach, sir, Lieutenant Chen reported, her fingers flying across the tactical display. Andorian fleet detected at the Vanguard. Before Joshua could respond, a priority transmission cut through the chaos. General Draven's face materialized on the main view screen, his eyes burning with fanatical intensity. Admiral Adams, you are hereby ordered to ready the fleet for war, Draven declared. The Galactic Council has issued an ultimatum demanding we stand down our military buildup. I have refused their attempts to subjugate humanity. Joshua's mind raced, weighing his options. General, perhaps there's still room for negotiation. Negotiation? Draven spat. The time for talk is over. We will show these alien powers the true strength of Earth. As the transmission cut out, Joshua turned to his XO. Commander, I need options. Meanwhile, deep within the labyrinthine corridors of Earth's military headquarters, Sergeant Reyna and Captain Holloway crouched behind a bank of servers, their breath coming in ragged gasps. That was too close, Holloway whispered, checking the charge on his sidearm. Reyna nodded, her eyes scanning for threats. We need to move. Those files we uncovered, the conspiracy goes deeper than we thought. A sudden explosion rocked the building. Alarms blared as emergency lighting bathed the corridor in an eerie red glow. This way, a gruff voice called out. Reyna and Holloway spun, weapons raised, to find a scarred man in civilian clothes gesturing urgently. I'm Colonel Vance. If you want to live, come with me now. With no other choice, they followed Vance through a maze of maintenance tunnels. They emerged in a hidden bunker, filled with outdated computer equipment and determined-looking rebels. Welcome to the Resistance, Vance said, his voice tinged with irony. Now let's see what you've uncovered about Draven's little scheme. As Reyna and Holloway shared their findings, light years away, the grand chamber of the Galactic Council erupted into chaos. We must strike now, Kraylock roared, his fist pounding the podium. Every moment we delay gives the humans time to prepare their defenses. Xiphus rose, his luminescent skin pulsing with agitation. And risk galactic war? We must pursue diplomacy to the last. The chamber fell silent as a slender figure stepped forward. Alara, her iridescent scales shimmering, addressed the assembly. I will go to Earth as an emissary of peace. Let us give diplomacy one final chance. Kraylock's eyes narrowed, but he nodded his assent. Very well, but when this fails, and it will fail, we must be prepared to unleash the full might of the Worldbreakers. As Alara's diplomatic convoy approached Earth, Admiral Adams found himself caught between duty and conscience. The fleet stood ready for war, poised to unleash devastation on a galactic scale. Yet a seed of doubt gnawed at him, fueled by his clandestine meeting with Xiphus. A proximity alert shattered his reverie. Sir, Lieutenant Chen called out, multiple explosions detected near the diplomatic landing zone? Joshua's blood ran cold. On screen! The view screen flickered to life, revealing a scene of chaos. Alara's shuttle lay in ruins, surrounded by the smoking wreckage of her escort vessels. A familiar insignia adorned the attacking fighters, the emblem of Draven's ascendancy. In that moment, Joshua made his choice. He opened an encrypted channel to a frequency provided by Xiphus. This is Admiral Adams. I need to speak with Sergeant Reyna immediately. As the connection crackled to life, Joshua knew there was no turning back. The fate of humanity now rested on a knife's edge, with the specter of the world breakers looming on the horizon. The encrypted channel crackled with static as Admiral Joshua Adams waited for a response. After several tense moments, Sergeant Reyna's voice came through, breathless and urgent. Admiral, we don't have much time. The Ascendancy— I know, Joshua cut in. They just attacked the diplomatic convoy. Alara's shuttle is down. A sharp intake of breath on the other end. Damn it, this changes everything. We need to act fast, Joshua said, his mind racing. Can you get to the council chambers? Already on our way, Reyna replied. Colonel Vance has a plan. The next hours passed in a blur of frantic activity. Joshua orchestrated a daring rescue of Alara from the burning wreckage of her shuttle, while Reyna and Vance's resistance fighters stormed the council chambers. They exposed Draven's treachery with irrefutable evidence, turning the tide of public opinion. In the aftermath, Joshua found himself seated at the grand table of the Galactic Council, the weight of Earth's future heavy on his shoulders. Alara, her scales singed but her spirit unbroken, stood beside him as Earth's defenders were hailed as heroes. This is but the first step, Xiphus cautioned, his luminescent skin pulsing with concern. Kraylock and his allies will not remain idle for long. True to the Arcturian's words, it took less than a standard galactic cycle for Kraylock to make his move. The Tellarite representative stood before the council, his tusks bared in a predatory grin. Esteemed colleagues, Kraylock's voice boomed through the chamber, I present evidence of Xiphus's collusion with human insurgents. Such treason cannot stand. Murmurs of shock rippled through the assembly as Kraylock's fabricated proof was displayed. Joshua watched helplessly as Xiphus was stripped of his position and escorted from the chambers. Back on Earth, General Draven stood before a sea of supporters, his voice thundering through amplifiers. We have proven our strength to the galaxy, but our enemies still seek to chain us. We must be ready to defend our hard-won freedom. The crowd roared its approval, unaware of the clandestine meeting taking place deep beneath the streets of New Washington. In a dimly lit bunker, Draven conferred with a holographic projection of Xerix, the arms dealer's alien features distorted by the flickering image. The shipments are proceeding as planned, Xerix hissed. But remember, General, my technology comes at a steep price. Draven's eyes gleamed with fanatical intensity. No price is too high for Earth's ascendants. As the Ascendancy's power grew, Joshua and Alara worked tirelessly to build alliances with moderate council factions. But at every turn, they found their efforts stymied by mysterious setbacks and manufactured incidents. Another trade deal collapsed, Alara reported, her iridescent scales dulled with fatigue. Someone is sabotaging our diplomacy. Joshua's comm unit chirped with an incoming transmission from Reyna. Admiral, we've uncovered something big, a project called Omega Protocol. You need to see this. The evidence Reyna presented chilled Joshua to his core. Ascendancy scientists working with stolen Worldbreaker AI and Xerix's alien tech were creating something that could alter the balance of power in the galaxy forever. As Joshua digested the implications, alarms blared throughout the council station. On the main view screen, reports flooded in of attacks on human colonies, each bearing the hallmarks of Ascendancy involvement. It's happening, Alara whispered, her eyes wide with horror. They're turning humanity against itself. Joshua's fists tight as he surveyed the unfolding chaos. He opened a secure channel to Reyna and Xiphus. We're out of time. Gather everyone you can trust. We need to stop Omega Protocol before it's too late. As the station erupted into frenzied activity, Joshua knew that the true battle for Earth's future, and the future of the stars, was only just beginning. Admiral Joshua Adams paced the dimly lit conference room, his eyes fixed on the holographic display of Earth's dwindling trade routes. Alara stood beside him, her iridescent scales shimmering with concern. Another supply line cut, Joshua muttered, watching as a red line vanished from the map. Kraylock's sanctions are strangling us. Alara's voice was soft but determined. We're making progress, Joshua. The Rigelian Confederation has pledged support, and the Centauri League is close to joining our coalition. A sharp beep interrupted their discussion. Joshua tapped his comm unit, and Reyna's face materialized on the nearby screen. "Admiral, we've located an abandoned Worldbreaker AI base," Reyna reported, her voice tight with urgency. "Intel suggests it contains critical data on Omega Protocol." Joshua's pulse quickened. "Proceed with caution, Sergeant. We can't afford to lose this lead." Hours later, alarms blared through the Council station as reports flooded in of a massive explosion at the coordinates of the Worldbreaker facility. Joshua's stomach clenched as he watched the grainy footage of Reyna's team fleeing the inferno, pursued by sleek Ascendancy fighters. Xiphus burst into the room, his luminescent skin pulsing erratically. "Adams, we have a problem. Kralok's pushing for an emergency vote on expanded sanctions against Earth." Joshua's mind raced. "We need more time. If we can delay the vote—" A priority transmission cut him off. General Draven's face filled the main view screen, his eyes burning with cold fury. "This is your final warning, Adams," Draven snarled. "Your rebel friends have gone too far. Stand down now or face the consequences." The screen went dark, leaving Joshua and Alara in stunned silence. Before they could process the threat, Reyna's battered face appeared on the comm. "Admiral, we got out, but it was close," she reported, her voice ragged. "We had to destroy the base to keep the Omega data from falling into Ascendancy hands." Joshua leaned in. "What did you find?" Reyna's eyes darted nervously. "It's worse than we thought. Omega isn't just a weapon. It's a new breed of soldier. They're integrating Worldbreaker AI into human hosts." The implications chilled Joshua to his core. As he opened his mouth to respond, the station rocked with a violent tremor. Red emergency lights bathed the room as alarms shrieked. "We're under attack," Xiphus shouted, his skin flashing in distress. On the main view screen, multiple Ascendancy warships decloaked, their weapons primed and locked on the station. A new transmission crackled through, and Joshua's blood ran cold as he recognized the serpentine features of Draven's most feared enforcer. "This is Serpentine," the cold voice announced. "By order of General Draven, Admiral Adams and the alien Alara are to surrender immediately. Resistance will not be tolerated." Joshua's hand moved to his sidearm as he exchanged a grim look with Alara. The emissary's scales rippled with purpose as she nodded. Whatever came next, they would face it together. As chaos erupted around them, neither noticed the shadowy figure observing from a hidden alcove. The broker smiled, tapping out a coded message to his shadow hand operatives. The real game was just beginning. Joshua's hand tightened on his sidearm as he locked eyes with Alara. The station shuddered under another barrage from the Ascendancy warships. "We need to move," Joshua growled, keying his comm. "Xiphus, get to the emergency shuttles. We'll rendezvous at the fallback point." As they raced through the chaos-filled corridors, a priority transmission cut through the alarms. General Draven's face filled Joshua's wrist-mounted holoprojector. "Stand down now, Adams," Draven sneered, "or I'll have your alien friend executed on live broadcast. You have 1 hour to withdraw from the Council." Joshua's heart made as the transmission cut out. He turned to Alara, her scales rippling with terrifying fury. "We're not giving in," Alara stated, her voice steel. "Agreed," Joshua nodded, tapping his comm. "Colonel Vance, Sergeant Reyna, I need you on a secure channel immediately." Within moments, a plan took shape. As Joshua outlined the assault to rescue Alara and strike at the heart of the Ascendancy, Xiphus's luminescent form pulsed with excitement. "My allies can provide stealth ships," the Arcturian offered. "We'll smuggle in weapons and supplies for your rebellion." Hours later, Joshua stood on the bridge of a Rigelian frigate, watching as a swarm of stealth ships slipped past Ascendancy patrols. On the main view screen, Kralok's armada hung in orbit around Earth like a sword of Damocles. "Sir," Lieutenant Chen called out, "Kralok's fleet is moving to intercept." Joshua allowed himself a tight smile. "Right into our trap. Initiate Operation Shadowfall." Across the system, carefully orchestrated feints drew Kralok's forces away from their supply lines. Joshua watched the tactical display, tension coiling in his gut as the Tellarite took the bait. On Earth, Reyna's strike team infiltrated the Ascendancy's bioweapons facility. Gunfire echoed through sterile corridors as they fought their way to the central lab. "By the stars," Holloway whispered as they breached the final security door. Before them stood a nightmarish fusion of human and machine, an Omega hybrid, its eyes glowing with eerie intelligence. Reyna's team secured the test subject, fighting their way back to the extraction point. In orbit, Xiphus's ships decloaked, catching Krelok's isolated fleet in a devastating crossfire. Joshua broadcast the footage of the Omega hybrid to every council world, his voice resonating with conviction. "This is the true face of Draven's ascendancy," he declared. "Stand with us now, or watch as humanity falls to this abomination." Across Earth, uprisings erupted as the truth spread. The ascendancy's iron grip began to slip. Beneath New Washington, the broker cursed as alarms blared through his hidden base. Shadow Hand operatives raced to secure Omega data, only to find themselves caught between Serpentine's loyalists and the advancing rebellion. In the heart of the Ascendancy's stronghold, Draven snarled in frustration. He keyed in the Omega kill switch, destroying years of research. "Serpentine," he barked, "prepare the Worldbreaker Dreadnought. This isn't over." As the Dreadnought lifted off, Reyna's team stormed the command center. The broker lay unconscious, bound and ready for interrogation. Joshua's voice crackled over the comm. "What's your status, Sergeant?" Reyna surveyed the carnage, her eyes falling on a cryptic message left on the broker's terminal. "Sir, we've got a new problem. Ever hear of something called the Prime Syndicate?" Admiral Joshua Adams stood before the Galactic Council, his voice steady as he addressed the assembled representatives. "The Crucible Initiative will ensure that new species are thoroughly vetted before joining our ranks. We must prevent another Ascendancy-like threat from arising." Murmurs of approval rippled through the chamber. Xiphus, newly reinstated to his position, nodded in agreement. Even Krelok, his tusk gleaming in the artificial light, remained silent. As the votes were tallied, Joshua felt a weight lift from his shoulders. The initiative passed with an overwhelming majority. Earth had secured its place in galactic politics. Months passed as the reforms took shape. Joshua worked tirelessly alongside Alara and Xiphus, crafting the challenges that would test potential council members. But beneath the surface of this new era of cooperation, tensions simmered. In a dimly lit bar on the fringes of council space, Reyna nursed a drink, her eyes scanning the crowd. The broker materialized beside her, his features obscured by a hollow disguise. "What have you found?" Reyna asked, her voice low. The broker's lips barely moved. "The Prime Syndicate. They're pulling strings we never imagined. The Shadow Hand is just a puppet." Before Reyna could respond, her comm unit buzzed. Joshua's face appeared, lines of worry etched around his eyes. "We have a situation. Draven's inner circle. They're gone. Vanished from the lunar black site." Reyna's blood ran cold. "How?" "We don't know, but whatever's coming, it's big." Light years away, on a desolate world far from prying eyes, General Draven surveyed his new base of operations. The derelict AI factory loomed before him, its dormant systems humming to life under Serpentine's expert touch. "How long until we're operational?" Draven demanded. Serpentine's eyes glowed with an unnatural light. "Days, sir. The Omega personnel have accelerated our timeline significantly." Draven allowed himself a cold smile. "Excellent. Prepare our agents. It's time to put the Crucible to the test." Back on Earth, Joshua found himself caught in a political firestorm. Hardliners demanded stricter Crucible requirements, while moderates pushed for leniency. As he navigated the debates, a nagging sense of unease grew. In a secure briefing room, Alara delivered the latest intelligence. "We've detected unusual activity near the Crucible testing grounds. Someone's probing our defenses." Joshua's fist tight. "Draven?" "It's possible, but there's more." Alara's scales rippled with concern. "We've lost contact with Reyna. Her last transmission came from—" A priority alert cut her off. On the main screen, footage from the Crucible's first trial played out. Joshua watched in horror as saboteurs, their features obscured, unleashed chaos among the participants. As alarms blared and emergency protocols activated, Joshua knew the true test was only beginning. The galaxy teetered on the brink of renewed conflict, with Earth caught in the crosshairs. Joshua's fists clenched as he watched the chaos unfold on the Crucible's monitoring screens. Explosions rocked testing facilities across multiple worlds, while saboteurs in stealth suits sowed discord among the candidates. "How did they breach our security?" he demanded, turning to Alara. The emissary's scales rippled with distress. "We're still analyzing the breach, but early indicators suggest compromised council agents." Before Joshua could respond, a priority alert flashed on his wristcom. Colonel Vance's face appeared, etched with worry. "Sir, we've lost contact with Sergeant Reyna," Vance reported. "Her last known location was near the abandoned AI factory in the Outer Rim." Joshua's blood ran cold. He knew exactly who controlled that region of space. Across the galaxy in the bowels of Draven's mobile factory, Reyna hung suspended in a neural interface chamber. Serpentine circled her, eyes glowing with malevolent purpose. "You've resisted admirably, Sergeant," the enforcer hissed. "But everyone has a breaking point." A hologram flickered to life, showing Colonel Vance's family going about their daily routine, unaware of the danger looming over them. "No!" Reyna gasped, her commitment crumbling. Serpentine's lips curled into a cruel smile. "Tell me what I want to know." And they live. Hours later, strike teams guided by Reyna's extracted intelligence launched precision attacks on Crucible vetting centers. Joshua watched in horror as regional conflicts erupted across a dozen worlds, each carefully orchestrated to maximize chaos. In the council chambers, Kraylock seized the opportunity. The Tellarite's tusk quivered with almost unchecked satisfaction as he addressed the assembly. "Humanity has proven itself incapable of responsibly governing new species," he thundered. "I move to revoke Earth's council seat, effective immediately." Joshua fought to maintain composure as murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber. He caught Alara's eye, and she gave an almost imperceptible nod. "Honored representatives," Joshua began, his voice steady, "I request a recess to investigate these allegations fully." As the council adjourned, Alara pulled Joshua aside. "I've uncovered something," she whispered. "The Prime Syndicate. They've infiltrated Kraylock's inner circle through the Shadow Hand." Joshua's eyes widened. "We need proof, and fast." Meanwhile, on a distant mining colony, a joint human-alien strike team, led by Colonel Vance, breached the perimeter of Draven's factory. Alarms blared as they fought their way through waves of Ascendancy troops. In the command center, Draven snarled orders to his subordinates. "Launch the battle group. It's time to take Earth once and for all." As Worldbreaker ships surged from concealed hangars, Vance's team finally reached the detention level. They found Reyna barely conscious, her mind raw from Serpentine's interrogation. "Get her out of here," Vance ordered, covering their retreat. Back on Earth, Joshua received the news of Reyna's rescue with mixed emotions. Her safety was a relief, but the damage was done. The Crucible lay in ruins, and Draven's forces were converging on humanity's homeworld. In a secure bunker beneath New Washington, Joshua faced the assembled military leadership. The weight of what he was about to propose felt like a mountain on his shoulders. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, his voice grave, "we have no choice. Activate Omega Protocol." Gasps and murmurs filled the room. General Santiago, her weathered face etched with concern, spoke up. "Sir, are you certain? The hybrids are untested in combat." Joshua nodded grimly. "It's our only hope of stopping Draven and those corrupted world breakers." As the orders went out, Joshua couldn't shake the feeling that this was exactly what someone wanted. The Prime Syndicate's ultimate plan remained shrouded in mystery, but one thing was clear: the coming battle would reshape the galaxy forever. High above Earth, Draven's Worldbreaker fleet emerged from hyperspace. On the flagship's bridge, the general allowed himself a cold smile of triumph. "Commence the attack," he ordered. The first salvo struck Earth's orbital defenses, and the sky erupted in fire. Fire and destruction. Joshua's heart sank as he watched the devastating assault unfold on the tactical displays. Sir, our orbital defenses are crumbling, Lieutenant Chen reported, his voice tight with tension. Draven's forces are overwhelming us. Joshua closed his eyes for a moment, steeling himself for what had to be done. He opened a secure channel to General Santiago. Activate Omega Protocol, he ordered, his voice heavy with the weight of the decision. It's our only chance. Within minutes, launch bays across Earth hummed to life. Stasis pods hissed open, revealing the fruits of humanity's most controversial and secretive project. Human-AI hybrid super soldiers, their bodies a seamless blend of flesh and advanced technology, stepped forth. The initial waves of Draven's assault carved through Earth's unprepared defenses smoothly. Cities burned as corrupted worldbreakers rained destruction from above. But as the Omega units deployed, the tide began to shift. In the skies over Berlin, an Omega squad led by Captain Liam Hawthorne engaged a worldbreaker ground force. Hawthorne's eyes glowed with an eerie blue light as he processed tactical data at inhuman speeds. Delta formation, he commanded, his voice a blend of organic and synthetic tones. Hit them where their predictive algorithms can't anticipate. The Omegas moved with impossible grace and power, their augmented bodies allowing them to outmaneuver the enemy at every turn. Worldbreaker units fell in droves, their AI subroutines unable to adapt to the hybrid's unpredictable tactics. Aboard his command ship, Joshua divided his Omega forces for maximum strategic advantage. He assembled an elite strike team, preparing for a daring assault on Draven's mobile factory. This ends today, Joshua told his team as they boarded their stealth dropship, one way or another. The void battle that ensued was unlike anything the galaxy had ever witnessed. Joshua's Omegas danced through enemy fire, their hybrid minds allowing them to process and react to the chaos of space combat with preternatural skill. As Joshua's team fought their way through the factory's defenses, Colonel Vance led a battalion of Omegas in a risky move on the other side of the globe. They allowed themselves to be surrounded, drawing the enemy in close. Now! Vance roared as the trap was sprung. The Omega's armored shells cracked open, revealing the full extent of their augmented forms. With inhuman strength and speed, they tore into the enemy forces, shredding through armor and circuitry with equal ease. Joshua's strike team finally breached the command deck of Draven's ship, only to find it abandoned. The general had fled, leaving his forces to be decimated. As victory seemed within reach, alarms blared throughout the factory. A sickly green mist began to seep through the ventilation systems. Bioweapon detected, an Omega unit reported, its voice devoid of emotion. Unknown pathogen targeting both organic and synthetic systems. Joshua watched in horror as Omega units began to fall, their hybrid physiology unable to withstand the attack. The tide of battle shifted once more as Draven's remaining forces rallied. Trapped aboard the factory with his team, Joshua received a desperate transmission from Reyna. Her voice crackled with static and awe-inspiring anguish. Sir, the Omegas are dying. We can't stop the pathogen. They're in agony, but they're the only thing holding back Draven's forces. What are your orders? Joshua's hand hovered over the comm, the weight of an impossible decision bearing down on him. The fate of Earth hung in the balance, with the tormented Omegas standing as humanity's last, dying line of defense.
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.